Okay, we're here to show you today how to install your new transfer case shifter from American Brother Designs on your Jeep JL. So you're going to have your new shifter, a zip tie to secure the boot as we install. You may want a trim removal tool, something soft to do a little bit of prying. You're going to need a 3/32 Allen wrench, some clippers come in handy to clip the zip tie when you're complete. A nice small screwdriver or almost like an ice pick type thing in order to get the inner shifter apart as we take apart the old shifter, and a T25 Torx driver. So the first step we're going to do here is that we need to remove the boot from the bottom, and it's actually a piece of plastic trim that goes all the way around the inside of the boot here and clips in to the console. You can maybe just use your fingers and push hard enough on the side. There's going to be 4 clips in these areas. And if you need to, you can use a trim removal tool to try and get back inside of there. And again, pop that, and you'll see again those 4 clips that I was talking about clip into the console here. Once you have that loose, you'll be able to pull the boot up, and you're going to expose over on this driver's side near the door a T25 screw. So we'll take that T25 driver and we're going to loosen that up. It probably doesn't have to come all the way out. This needs to come most of the way to be loose, and it actually threads into the shaft there. Once it's loose enough, the entire shifter will come off. The next step is going to be to remove kind of this inner piece of white plastic from the black outer shift knob itself so that we can get the boot completely loose. It's basically sandwiched in there and then glued as well. But down in these 2 recesses, there's a little bit of a clip, and we need to use something like a small tiny screwdriver or an ice pick type device, and we're going to actually work those to where we can get that loose. It's kind of a 3-handed project, so it's going to take us a second to do that, and we'll come right back and show you how to do the install. Okay, so we've got the inner shifter, kind of this plastic inside piece, the white piece, separate now from the actual shift knob. So we can set the shift knob aside. You can hold on to it for another time. If you ever wanted to put it back together, you would just have to re-glue the boot into the inner piece and you could reuse it. So now, like I said, this boot is basically glued into the inside of this inner shifter, and we want to get that free so that when we put it back together, we have a nice looking boot with our new shifter. So I'm just working myself around, again, some glue in there. You can put these 2 pieces back together just so you'll have them for future use. Screw needs to line up with the screw hole, and you'll hear it click back together. Again, to get it back apart, you would do the same type of thing where you pry those 2 little teeth out. So now we've got our boot here, and we've got our shifter. So we need to work on putting it together kind of in the correct orientation to get it onto the vehicle. So I'm going to actually flip the boot kind of in between to where I can get in the hole here. And then work the boot all the way up on that. Should be a fairly snug fit, but not too much. If it is, you can see that this boot actually has a little bit of relief in it already, so this one's probably going to slide right up on there. If not, you can take a pair of scissors and put just a tiny little slit like that's already in there to help work that on there. Again, it's tight, that's the way we want it. We want to work that boot all the way up to where we can see the Allen screws that we're going to tighten it back on with. And also know that it's in a good spot to where you can feel this groove. You might have seen when we had it apart, that's where our zip tie is going to end up holding our boot, but that's going to be one of the last steps. So next, we need to be able to kind of see the top of the shifter and the orientation of the boot. This deeper side fits towards the driver door, and then of course the pattern that we're going to want needs to be kind of more straight like that. So this is going to be close. The set screws that are here that we provided in the shifter need to be backed out far enough to where it's going to slide onto the shaft. If they're too tight, obviously it's not going to go down and all the way on there. It should bottom out onto the shaft, and now we're just going to be a matter of tightening when this orientation is correct, those 3 set screws. So you come with your 3/32 Allen wrench, get your logo straight, get the first one snugged a little bit, second one, there are 3 of them. One's going to be on this back side, and a little bit tough for me to see from this orientation, but you're going to get in there and tighten that up. And then go ahead and come back and snug all of them up. Okay, and then the next step is going to be to go ahead and bring that zip tie, find that groove kind of in the shifter, and kind of like press it in there, get the zip tie started, and then again make sure it's going to land inside the groove. I can feel with my fingernail here the top and the bottom of the groove, and I've got the zip tie right in there. Tighten that down good and tight, and take those clippers, go ahead and trim the zip tie, and then we can reverse the boot back down and clip it back down into the console here. And that's your installation.